Victor goddamn Sullivan, smuggler, thief, mentor, and cigar-chomping soul of the Uncharted series. With his slick back hair, quick wit, and a seemingly endless supply of Havana shirts, I would like to know where he got them from, hopefully wholesale, from Costco, I don't know if they sell those. He's both a backstabbing hustler with a trail of double crosses, and also a loyal father/mentor figure who changed a street kid's life. Sully's life and figure makes him the guy that is the heart of the Uncharted series. He's like the plot armor. Sully is more than just Nathan Drake's sidekick. He's one of gaming's most lovable rogues, and I feel like people don't talk about him enough. When I looked on YouTube for things, nobody really spoke about him. It was just his lines or his best scenes, but that was it. So I want to make a video about him. So here we go. So grab a cigar and let's hunt for the treasure that is Victor Sullivan's story. Victor Sullivan, born in 1950, didn't exactly get a head start. Growing up with a deadbeat dad he called lousy, Sully learned to fend for himself early. Sully never had a stable family, shaping his reluctance to ever start one of his own. As a young man, he joined the US Navy hoping for purpose, but his knack for trouble led to a dishonorable discharge for running illegal scams. This marked the beginning of Sully's life as a freelance thief and smuggler, you name it, a career that saw him working with some of the shadiest figures in the underworld. He pulled off a fake Santos scam on Pablo Escobar, smuggled Japanese wood prints with drug lord Hector Alcazar, and outwitted Nadine Ross's shoreline mercenaries in a tense run-in. His silver tongue and willingness to double-cross make him a legend in the underworld, also a man few trusted. Sully's early years were defined by survival and ambition, especially when he fell in love with Catherine Marlowe, a formidable figure who became his lover and employer. She is also the main antagonist in Uncharted 3. Their partnership was built on mutual ambition, but Sully's moral compass, buried as it was, would soon set him on a different path. That is, until a chance encounter in 1990 changed everything. In 1990, while on a job to steal Sir Francis Drake's ring and astrolabe in Cartagena, Colombia, a scrappy kid with a knack for thieving by the name of none other than Nathan Drake is after the same prize. Nate swipes Sully's wallet thinking he's slick, but as most of us probably know, Sully catches him, and instead of ratting him out, Sully sees a spark, maybe a bit of himself in this street kid. Nate returns with the wallet, but keeps the key that Sully got cut for the case for the astrolabe. Later that evening, a smirking and overconfident Nate sneaks into the museum and manages to get the ring. However, as luck would have it, he is unfortunately discovered by Victor and Marlowe along with their goons. They succeed in taking the disc, but Nate is able to hide the ring with his David Copperfield magic trick. Marlowe slaps Nate, which causes Victor to deviate from her due to her sheer brutality to a young boy. Nate runs away as Marlowe's men attempt to catch him. Victor betrays Marlowe and assists Nate in escaping by taking out some pursuing men. Nate is then trapped and is forced to aim .45 defender at a henchman who has him cornered. Nate falls down and hesitates in shooting him. The henchman tells Nate to close his eyes as he prepares to kill the boy. As Nate accepts his fate, a gunshot rings out, but it does not come from any of the handguns of either Nate or the henchman, but rather Victor, who shoots the henchman with his West .44. Nate remains on the ground, gun remaining, as Nate shakes in fear. Victor helps him up and discards his gun. The two then hide out in a tavern where the two introduce each other, and Nate tells Victor about Sir Francis Drake and his journey to Arabia and how his journey lasted a very, very long time. Longer than how Francis Drake sailed, who was a skilled sailor and would have only taken him a month and that he was hiding somewhere. Basically the whole shebang that Nate realized. They realize the cipher disc may help them in their journeys, but Marlowe has it. But Nate has the ring, so this begins a stalemate that lasts for 20 years and a partnership between Nate and Victor. It's not just a partnership, that's kind of an understatement. It's the moment that Sully becomes the father Nate never really had, and he refined the boys' raw skills and setting them on a decades-long path of danger and loyalty. So for the 2 decades, Sully and Nate are a package deal, chasing treasures and trouble wherever they went. They're in and out of jails, banned from half the globe, but Sully's always got Nate's back. Take Uncharted's Golden Abyss. Nate calls Sully to Panama to save Maurice's chase from warlord Roberto Guerrero. Sully's there, no questions asked, paddling through jungles and trading shots with Guerrero's men and Jason Dante's mercenaries. That's Sully, loyal as hell, even when he's limping and cursing that he's too old for this shit. His loyalty isn't loud, it's in the clutch moments, like risking his neck for a kid he's made his own. Fast forward to Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Sully's drowning in debt, pushing him and Nate to hunt down El Dorado. He flies Nate and journalist Elena Fisher out of a pirate ambush in his seaplane. It's called the Hogwild. Fun fact, it's also a Crash Bandicoot Easter egg. He ditches Elena to keep their mission quiet, showing his cagey side. In the Amazon, they track down a German U-boat, but Sully's debts bite back. Gabriel Roman and Atok Navarro corner him, revealing Sully tipped them off to clear his slate. Roman shoots him, and Nate thinks he lost his mentor, maybe even betrayed, but Sully's alive, saved by Nathan Drake's journal stopping the bullet.
For you. Yeah. I thought this kind of thing only happened in the movies.
Yeah, well, it still hurt like a son of a bitch, I'll tell you that.
I bet.
Anyway, once they realized I wasn't dead, I convinced Roman that they would never find the treasure without me.
That brief moment where Nate doubts Sully stings, especially after 20 years together, but it shows how Sully's shady rep casts a shadow, even on those closest to him. In the end, he distracts the mercenaries, covers Nate and snags a yacht full of treasure from dead pirates. Smirking,
You two got a funny idea of romantic.
Sully! Wow, you look like hell.
You should see the other guys. Got us a boat.
We already have a boat.
Yeah, big boat.
I like this one better.
Sully, you beautiful son of a bitch!
Borrowed it off a couple of pirates who were too dead to care.
that's good old Sully. Loyal, but never passing up a score. Although Sully's not front and center, he still comes in clutch in Uncharted 2 among thieves. When Nate's betrayed by Harry Flynn and tossed in the Turkish jail, Sully and Chloe Fraser bail him out of there with Drake's Fortune's loot. They hatch a plan to infiltrate Zoran Lazarevich's camp in Borneo to find the Cincinnati Stone, what am I thinking? Sully's out here planting explosives like it's a casual day job. After a wild chase and a cliff dive, he bows out. Stakes are too high for a guy my age, he grumbles, heading for a warm vacation, probably with a cigar and a cocktail. But he's back, by the end, carrying an injured Elena to safety in Tibet, showing his loyalty pulls him back and is never really out of the game, even when he said he's done. His bond with Nate keeps him in the game, no matter how much he gripes. Uncharted 3 is where I feel like the character Sully plays a more central role compared to previous titles. He's with Nate, Chloe, and Charlie Cutter, chasing Sir Francis Drake's trail to the Arm of the Pillars, the Atlantis of the Sands. In London, they stage a deal with Talbot, Marlowe's right-hand man, but it's a setup. A flashback reminds us how Sully saved Nate from Marlowe 20 years ago, gunning down her goon to protect him. In France, after escaping Talbot's men after the fight, Sully's skeptical of Nate's obsession, asking,
I gotta say, I'm losing the plot here. Remind me again why we're doing this?
No. If you're gearing up for one of your I'm too old for this speeches, spare me.
Nate, these guys are playing for keeps.
Yeah, so? What, you're just gonna roll over for them now?
Nobody's talking about rolling over.
Then quit acting like you're ready to lay down and die, all right?
Listen, kid. I've had you back for 20 years. I'm not going anywhere. Obviously. I just want to make sure we're doing this for the right reasons. You got your pride all tangled up in this thing. It's making you reckless. I taught you better than that. Gonna get yourself killed. Oh, damn. Hell. Probably get us all killed.
but he still follows him through spider-infested tombs. In Syria, he's ready to shoot Cutter when drugged Cutter attacks Nate. Sully's loyalty to Nate trumps everything. In Yemen, his navy skills shine using constellations to pinpoint Iran, but Marlowe's men capture him for that knowledge. Nate and the Bedouin ally Salim, along with his tribe, rescue him, and they uncover Iran's tainted water. When Nate drinks it, it hallucinates Sully's death, and it's a knife to the gut until Sully flicks to his face and growls,
Ow!
That real enough for you? Don't ever point a gun at me again.
At the end of Uncharted 3, Sully opens up to Nate at the airport, whilst giving his wedding ring. Nate came barreling into his life, and he reflects on his rough childhood and how Nate gave him a purpose. A rare glimpse into the dad he never planned to be. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End pulls Sully back for one last heist with Nate. After a long 2 years of silence, Nate calls him to steal a St. Dismas cross at an Italian auction tied to Henry Avery's 400 million treasure. The reason being, after such a long time, was the unexpected visit of Nate's long-lost brother, who was thought to be dead, Sam. Sully, after the 2 years of his break, he's in his element. He's schmoozing with his cigar. He hangs around coolly with Rafe Adler and Nadine Ross, while Nate and Sam sneak around. He even snags a fancy car for their getaway. In Scotland, he chills by his new seaplane, Hog Wild's replacement, and flies the brothers in a getaway to Madagascar, blast through shoreline mercenaries and drive a jeep through Kings Bay. When Elena catches Nate lying about their adventure, which Nate did lie very badly, he was basically supposed to dive down for a sea wreck, but instead decided that it would be better not to tell her and he would go with Sam on this adventure. But Sully is the responsible adult. Sully actually pushes him to fix it, showing he cares about Nate's family. Nate's brother Sam, he's a sore spot. Sam's jealous of Sully's bond with Nate, calling him a backstabber based on old betrayals, maybe from before Nate was in the picture. He's backstabbed people before, but not us, Nate insists, and Sully proves it, sticking by Nate through every ambush and every attack. In the end, with Nate retired, Sully teams up with Sam, finding new purpose. Years later, they're retired, visiting Nate, Elena, and their daughter Cassie, with Sully challenging her to backgammon. And that dog that Nate promised him to whilst he and Sully had their jungle banter, it's Vicky, a Labrador named after Victor, a perfect nod to the man who shaped Nate's life. So, why is Sully the guy we all love? Well, he's real as hell. A cigar-chomping, wisecracking thief who's always got an angle, whether it's a yacht full of gold and Drake's fortune or chopper in Golden Abyss. But his heart's bigger than any treasure. In fact, I know this is going to be cheesy, but Nate's been with the treasure the whole time he's been on these adventures. Sully is there when it counts. He is the guy who pockets the treasure from dead pirates and causes mayhem and chaos, and always has a cigar ready, but he's always the moral anchor. Also, urging Nate to choose family over treasure, especially during Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4. Sully's own words capture his essence.
Here's the thing, kid. We don't get to choose how we start in this life. Real greatness, it's what you do with the hand you're dealt.
But here's my favourite part of the video, and that's asking you, my viewers, what's your favourite Sully moment? What one-liner made you crack up? So tell me down below in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and set your notifications to all. And I really appreciate you guys coming here. I've gone up by 30 subscribers, and I could not imagine it. So thank you so much, and I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. But anyway, that's it for now. Chickadeus signing out. Peace.